Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, and some lady gentlemen, on this week's On the Rocks, we chat with the king of counterfeit, one of the world's most notorious counterfeiters turned sought-after artist. Arthur J. Williams Jr. is my guest today, with my guest co-host, the lady of entertainment, podcaster, writer, producer, actress, model, Liz Culley is here, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord help us, buttons and bows and pantyhose. On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. ArcLight theaters announced that they will not be reopening due to COVID. ArcLight, didn't you save any money for my $40 popcorn? True story. Anyway, there are whispers that Netflix will be taking over the LA historic theater, the Cinerama Dome. I think that's a good choice. Premiere? Yes, you can raise my Netflix by $1. It's fine. Go ahead. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceanera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our now 242 episodes at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Hello to our listeners around the nation on every major podcast platform, also on Facebook Watch, on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, on the Out@.tv app. Share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a phone number if you're single. Even if you're not single, go ahead, leave a number. I'll call. Wow. Kurt, do you have a pun for us? You're so punny.
I always have a pun for you.
Hurry up. We have an artist here.
Okay, I'll get to it quickly then.
Okay.
Did you hear about the guy who had an accident playing peekaboo?
He couldn't find himself?
No, he's currently in the ICU.
I like that one.
That's good one.
That was better than the last one.
I don't know if there's a better or worse. It's just like this dismal limbo of bad puns.
They're all gold. What are you talking about?
They're dad jokes now, and now you can be a dad. So, okay. Let me welcome my returning guest co-host, adding some class to my sass. Liz Culley is a seasoned producer, on-air talent, writer, and business executive. She has written multiple digital first shows for ABC, hosted the X Games, and created and starred in the hit YouTube show Getting Nailed. Oh, my. Most recently, she celebrated 1 year as co-host of Embassy Row's first LGBTQ+ culture podcast, Scissoring Isn't A Thing. And she's also a weekly host of The Taylor Strecker Show. In addition to her entertainment resume, she has been a branded content and partnership executive at MySpace, Pop Sugar, Studio 71, BeautyCon, and she's the new executive director of entertainment at Condé Nast. Nast or Nast?
I am!
That's
Condé
so
Nast. I start on Monday. Oh,
That's
God.
so insane.
I know.
People usually tell her she's the next Chelsea Handler, but sort of looks like Reese Witherspoon, but also looks like an Olsen twin, but kind of reminds him of Busy Phillips. Please welcome back Liz Culley.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Who gave you my Model Mayhem login?
When I tell you
jerk?
we do research. Art, I talked to your inmate, so I got some dirt on you too. But we do. We do a lot of research.
Did you talk to my inmate too?
I did. She was like, no comment.
Oh, God.
But we do a lot of research on the show because I love doing that. Every time I research you, there's more and more delicious morsels out there. There was you and a chicken nugget. But the nugget was like 10 feet tall, 20 feet tall.
I that was last year. I worked with several artists. That's why I'm really excited about today's show. I worked with a couple experiential artists and sculpture artists, and we did a ASMR fried chicken themed museum on Fairfax next to the Supreme store.
I'm dead.
To celebrate my former client Jack in the Box's new chicken strips.
Okay, I love how they get the skinniest, most beautiful people
Oh my God,
get involved. I'm like, Jack in the Box. It's like, bitch, you don't eat Jack in the Box.
Okay, well, so here's the thing. Jack in the Box has been my client for about 4 or 5 years now. We've done amazing things together. We just did a digital scavenger hunt on the internet. Like they're an amazing company to work for because they're actually really fun. But if I'm being really honest, I had actually never eaten Jack in the Box ever.
Really?
No.
It's my emergency food.
Oh.
I was going to say.
So I don't eat fast food ever. But I McDonald's or Burger King or
Emergency.
even but emergency, I see the Jack in the Box. It just reminds me of something like a kid, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as guilty when I go and get the fast food.
It
but it's
was pretty good.
and it's good. You should try it. Really.
No, I did. I ended up finally trying it because I felt like such a fraud.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a right time to eat Jack in the Box, and it is at 3:30 a.m. If
After
you're
you
coming home
popped
from
a
the
Molly.
clubs. A Molly or a tamale. Look who you're talking to. They have a munchie meal. It's like $6, and they only sell it, I think, from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. And it's all the crap that they didn't sell during the day.
I'm dead.
I gotta remember that.
Yeah.
That's when I move at
But-
night.
You have to. It's called the munchie meal, and they have new concoctions you don't get during the day. So they put a grilled cheese sandwich and they put a burger in the middle of it, or they put chicken tenders in the middle of this grilled cheese sandwich, and then it's all of the fries and onion rings, and it's ridiculous.
I'm so glad that I
I'm
have
getting
like
hungry right now.
Oh,
Pepto Bismol
I was about
in
to
my
eat
purse.
the ice cubes. Didn't
Yeah,
I told
well,
him. I asked him for a snack. He had to tell me they were fake.
Oh my God, there's no snacks here. What are you talking about?
You're the
about
second.
to-
You're in my 6 years of podcasting.
Yeah,
you're the second person that's. Do you have a snack? I'm a little peckish. I'm like, oh. We're gonna have to get some. Kurt, we're gonna have to get some snacks.
A little snack. In there.
A little nosh. Well, you're from Chicago. We need a little nosh.
A little deep dish
A
pizza.
little deep. Okay, but I want to talk about congratulations on a year of Scissoring Isn't A Thing podcast.
Thank you.
Can you believe it's been a year?
I can't believe it's been a year. Also, thank you because our 1 year anniversary guest was Anne Heche, and you made the introduction.
We're tight. We're tight.
And she did not disappoint. You know how I described that interview?
Please, because people ask me about the interview she did here, and they said, "How was it?" I don't know how to describe it.
I said it was like bumper cars.
Oh, yes.
It's like being on bumper cars. It's like super fun. You're like smashing into each other. You don't
you're in
know
a different
which
direction.
You're in a
Oh,
different
that's such a
direction,
great-
and it's just like fucking bumper cars. But you know what? The year has been amazing. We've been so lucky. We had you on the show. We made you like really go into your deep religious background.
I went on to talk about pop culture, and all of a sudden we're talking about, like, I have the box of Kleenex out. I'm talking about Catholic Church and
I'll do
Jesus.
it. Darren and I'll do it to you every
Yeah.
time. Anyway,
That's what I do love about the show, though, is you never know what you're going to get. And you have amazing personalities from pop culture, from the drag world, from Bravo TV, from everywhere. And you have, like, the common person that's just trying to make a name in the business.
Stop it, Alexander. Get out of here. I just went to Palm Springs, and I was walking down the main drag, and I was just looking for your star. Do you have one? Shut the
I
fuck
don't
up.
have one, but it could be a possibility. But come on, I haven't really done.
First
I
of
mean,
all, if you get a star on the Palm Springs walkway,
you'll have to do the opening talk.
I want to host it, and I want to
Okay.
cut the. I want to be like the momager and like hand you the scissors to cut the ribbon or
Love
whatever it is.
Love it. Love it. But what has been one of the most surprising or your favorite interviews from this year?
Oh God, you're like asking me to pick my children and also like never work in this town again. Just kidding. You know who I loved was Buck Angel.
Oh, Buck
Should
is
I-
interesting.
Should I describe to the listeners and the viewers and to you, Arthur, who Buck Angel is?
Arthur's like, I just moved to LA. Like, give me a break.
He's like, get me the fuck out of here, these weirdos. Oh God, I'm swearing again.
I told you it's $10 per swear word. I
What
know
am
you're
I
good
at,
for it.
Kurt? What am I at, Kurt?
Oh, we're not allowed to swear, man. I'm in
No,
trouble,
you
man.
can't. It's just $10. That's all. You're an executive director now, so
Oh yeah,
she's
okay.
good for it. She's got you
You
covered.
take
though.
hundreds?
Yeah, exactly.
Give you 100.
I don't give change, girl.
I get 10.
Exactly. I loved interviewing Buck Angel, who was the first female to male like popular porn actor. I loved Buck. I loved oh God, I love everyone. I loved you. I actually really loved our interview. I thought it was you and I
I
really
needed therapy afterwards.
I know
but
you and
okay.
I really went there. We had Karamo, who was fun.
Love
Carson Kressley was a hoot. Tom Felicia was blacked out, so that was pretty funny. Bob the drag queen. They're all the best. But Buck Angel, I think I learned a lot. Also, he's quite conservative, which is really interesting.
That's very surprising to people who talk to him because it's a wake
He's
up
an
call.
OG. And here's the thing about me is like, I don't care who you are, what you do, as long as you're not preaching hate, which he does not.
Right.
It's all good with me, but it always surprises me when people are it's completely not what I thought they were going to be. And I respect that because everybody can't just be the same. You know what I mean?
Right, but it's surprising when it's in our community, such as, dating
Well,
again.
fair.
And we've been through the last year that we've been through socially and politically. And it's funny to go on a date with somebody that is very conservative.
Who the hell are you going out with?
Well, that's it. But you don't know. But
You
at
going
least
back to
we're
church?
having these.
You're going back to church.
Father. He's probably dead by now. But oh wow. But it's very interesting that I think people are more confident in talking about their political sides even now. I mean, I'm not talking about, you know.
Oh my God, did you see that QAnon doc on HBO?
No, you sent it to me. It's like I am so political out. That's not even a term. I'm so exhausted.
Alexander Rodriguez.
Okay.
You need to watch that QAnon doc because first of all,
I don't have any more
8chan,
energy for
4chan, 2chan, the internet's crazy. They've got these things called incels, which I now call the rumples. They're men who believe that they are virgins by force, which doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it's fascinating. Anyway, I digress.
Rumples?
I call them the rumples. That's like my new nickname for the incels, which are men who are said to be forced to be virgins who believe in QAnon. I'm telling you, just
Forced by who?
Kurt, have you watched the documentary?
No.
All right, well, let's move on.
This shit's getting wild.
Sounds like a fun documentary,
Poor
though.
artist, like, I just want to paint.
Man, what's
I
going
just want to
on?
paint. Welcome to LA. Okay, real fast before we introduce our
Sure.
guest, I want to talk about Thunder Force. It came out with Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer,
Okay, so I drank 3 glasses of wine.
and still wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough. I fell asleep, like fast asleep, falling asleep all over myself. Sleep.
So, but I want to talk to you because you've been in so many different facets of entertainment, in front of the
Okay.
camera, behind the camera. We joke about, like, Will Ferrell makes bad movies now. Adam Sandler makes really bad movies.
Really bad.
Melissa McCarthy she's now in that group. We had Identity Theft, we have Tammy, we had The Boss, we had Life of the Party.
Identity theft. Those were all so bad.
So bad. And then Thunder Force, I'm sorry, it's now part of that collection.
First of all, the plot of Thunder Force from the jump is so bad. Like, you know what was? It's funny.
At
that
least make it so bad it's fun, but it wasn't even that.
it wasn't. You know, it's interesting. I looked at my wife, who was really in entertainment before
Yeah.
she jumped ship, and I always ask her these questions. I'm like, how do they get the money?
This is my question: is how do these actors
did they
keep
get
getting
the
movie after movie?
money? You know, I don't, because that movie did not cost a lot of money to make.
Yeah, it did. I mean, the special effects were great. Everything looked great.
And they had all those guest stars. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not,
but you know, they're friends. It's like, oh, I can be in a Melissa McCarthy movie. Like Jason Bateman is like, yeah, I'll do it.
First of all, I love Jason Bateman. I have the best Jason Bateman. Have you ever heard about me stalking him in the Whole Foods?
Oh, I would, because he's one of the nicest people in the world, and I love him in everything he does, even like a bad film.
He's fantastic. And then I ended up meeting his sister later on. Basically, I have this horrible thing. You are going to experience this now that you are new to LA, Arthur, where I have this thing where I think I know someone, but they're actually just a famous person, but I can't clock it. So when I first moved to Los Angeles, I was in the
Yeah.
Whole Foods on Fairfax and Santa Monica,
Yeah.
broke as all get up.
Yeah.
At Whole Foods? What were you doing at Whole Foods?
I like the pineapple. They have very nice cut pineapple.
She eats right
I'll
off
splurge.
the thing. That's what I do. Go
Actually,
there.
yes, I did,
do.
sir.
It's a sample.
Yes, I did,
It's
sir.
a sample. It's
Yeah.
a sample.
I may or may not have been escorted out from eating from the
She
the
was
hot
counterfeiting
bar.
pineapple. She's like a
Hey,
paper mache pineapple. I'm going to switch them
Oh my
out.
god, love it. Anyway, I followed him around the seafood section. I'm like, do I know you from somewhere?
Oh my God.
And
that's
I
so
did it,
funny.
and it is so bad. I followed him around the whole store, all for all the LA folks, all the way around to the bakery. I'm like, San Francisco, New York. I'm like, wait a minute, did you go to high school with my sister? He
Oh
was
my
like, you
God.
are a fucking crazy person. No lie. 4 years later, I'm at the Chateau Marmont having lunch with friends, and I see him, and I walk up to him, and he goes, Whole Foods.
He
I don't.
remembered
He
you.
remembered, and he's like, "I don't know you." And then I met his sister years later, and I started, from not growing from Family Ties.
Yeah.
And I started doing the same thing, and my wife goes, "Liz, this is Jason Bateman's sister.
Oh my
Please don't."
God.
Mallory. She was Mallory.
She's a
And-
huge filmmaker now, too.
I know, she's lovely. Anyway, so I'm terrible at this. You're gonna do this now, Arthur. You're gonna walk up to people and you're gonna be like, "Oh, don't I know you from Chicago South Side?" Like,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, "Absolutely not. My name is like Rashida
Yeah.
Jones or whatever."
She would love your art.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, well, let's welcome our guest on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are talking to one of the world's most notorious counterfeiters, Arthur J. Williams Jr., when we come back. All right. That's
that
how
was
we
so
do
quick.
it. That's how we do it.
Man, that was impressive. Was that, or do we got a second or no?
No.
no.
Oh, we don't. Oh, okay. We go right into
Are
it.
you
Yeah.
going to order Like a pizza or something?
No, I
It's like
I didn't know it was
honey little nuts.
TV.
TV. Quick, huh?
So
TV.
quick.
All right, I want to introduce Arthur Williams Jr., infamous for being the counterfeiter who successfully replicated the impossible to replicate 1996 $100 bill. He could be this generation's most unlikely artist who exploits have been covered in Rolling Stone, Vice, Forbes, featured on American Greed, and chronicled in the book The Art of Making Money by Jason Kirsten. Convicted for his criminal wrongdoings, he spent more than a third of his life behind bars before his 40th birthday. And while serving his last few years, he passed the time by studying the works of Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and taking art classes taught by a fellow inmate. And during his incarceration, he took what he learned from studying the masters to create money-themed oil paintings, which incorporate the same level of detail found in his counterfeit work, which you can see right there on the screen. But his story goes beyond the world of art. He has brought inspiration to countless others experiencing hard times. In addition to creating new work, he donates a portion of his earnings to several charities, including After School All-Stars and Common Ground. He also dedicates a substantial amount of his time as both a motivational speaker and mentor to at-risk youth, searching for a positive pathway in life. I need some of that motivational talk, too. He is no stranger to taking risks. This past spring, at the height of the COVID pandemic, he took another risk. Having been forced to close his successful gallery in his hometown of Chicago in hopes of making a better life for his wife and children, he packed up the family and headed to California. And through hard work and talent, he is now thrilled to showcase his work in his brand new gallery located in the heart of Bev Hills. Hey,
Yeah.
please welcome Arthur Williams Jr.
Sure.
My God, your family is so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
How old are those cute little kids?
4 and 2.
Oh,
Man,
you
that-
have you have children.
Oh, I have 6 children.
Oh, you have 6
Oh, yes.
altogether.
I've lived like 100 lives.
How old is your
Everything's
oldest?
100. Right?
How old is your oldest?
28, I think.
Oh, so you
something
go
like-
all the 20 to
Yeah,
2.
Yeah.
What
yeah,
a that's
yeah.
a very different. Is it very different? Like, wow, what a
Shit,
vibe.
yeah, it's crazy. Well, I didn't expect the last 2, but I'm glad I got them because they're the ones that changed my life.
Yeah.
You know, my wife and the family. Because I was still, after prison a couple years, I was still getting a little crazy. So when I met her, she kind of calmed me down.
She's
know?
beautiful.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
congratulations.
That was one hell of an introduction, man.
Isn't he the best?
Well,
It's out of
here-
control.
But that's your life, though. And it's funny when Sammy, who's a PR rep that I love to work with, she sent me this story in my email. I'm like, this can't be real. I'm like, is this a
Yeah.
movie about a counterfeiter? Because
No.
it sounds so unreal. And then I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I had heard about you many times. And then, of course, watching the documentary, there's a lot that we're going to chat about tonight. Uplifting and inspirational, but we're also going to talk about some of the fun and nitty gritty of what your life has been. But I want to know about your early life, and you're very open about talking, your early life growing up in the projects of Chicago. We see depictions on TV and movies, what that's like. We see the glamorized version of being in a gang or the mafia. But from your personal experience, what was daily life like as a youth running around the streets of Chicago?
I mean, Chicago, even right now, I was just talking to a friend because there's some things going on. Some kid got hurt in Minnesota, got killed, actually.
killed.
And then another kid in Chicago got killed. A Hispanic kid actually got killed. And there's talking about rioting right now in Chicago. And that's one of the reasons I left because, because being in prison, I have a different perspective than most people.
Yes.
Sure.
I was in prisons that had viruses. We had the chlamydia pneumonia. Sounds really nasty, right? And it shut my prison down for 6 months. Everyone got sick. Couple of people actually look it up. Big Spring, Texas. There was a viral outbreak there in 2009, and I got sick and overcame it. But I seen some people not overcome it. So this whole thing, right now, even with Chicago, what it's going through, it's like, it's just really hard. It's been really hard to deal with lately, what's happening, and, but I mean, it led me here to Beverly Hills, even right now, I just got a call right before I came over here from the security people that they might need to go to the gallery because they're hearing things on the street because of the Minnesota thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a real situation happening right now,
Were you when did you move to Beverly Hills?
We got here in September 1st.
So you missed BLM here,
Yeah.
but you were in Chicago
Well,
during.
It's a little bit more than that. I like to barter all the time. So I've bartered paintings for a Porsche. I bartered paintings for an RV.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, no.
That's what
But
it
do you
does.
have who pays the car insurance? Because that's the shit that sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I make
The responsible
I make,
lesbian over here is like, who pays
I make,
the
I
car
make,
insurance?
I make fake little insurance car. I'm just kidding. I paid
Oh my God,
insurance.
stop
No,
it
I
this
paid-
minute. Let's talk
I
after.
I do the real ones, man. But no. So I traded things, and I traded some paintings for an RV, and we had it sitting there for a while, and I was gonna paint it, give it to charity, and you know, do something like that. But when the virus hit and they started closing things down, and I got hit really hard,
Yeah.
you know. I had some money saved up, and I was like telling my wife, I'm like, look, we could either stay here and I'll be responsible to pay the bills, because my apartment and my gallery was underneath the same landlord who was my friend. Now, I probably could have got away with not paying him, but I wouldn't have felt right about that,
Sure.
you know. And I didn't want to really ask the government for money, because I still, even now, I still kind of live like a ghost, you know. I mean, I don't like to ask for anything from anyone. I want to earn it, you know.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I'm even proud of, like where I'm at now, because like I tell people, one of the proudest things I've done 7 years of freedom and 4 years as an artist without ever stopping, you know, crossing that line, right? And I hold dear to that, you know. And some people think, oh, he's doing what he's doing because he got money stashed,
Right.
you know. No, hell no, there ain't no money stashed. It's me grinding. It's me getting up every morning and working my ass off. I owe you $10. By then I'll give you $100, right? But no. So you know, here, you know, now it is, you know, in Beverly Hills, and really shocking. I actually went to Texas, so we took the RV and we went to Texas for 6 months, and we stayed there during the whole time. We actually missed pretty much everything, you know. And we were in a little town. I did a 70-foot mural. It was crazy, you know. And we were
Sick.
Mount Pleasant, Texas, man. It had a little. We were on a ranch with a lake, and then we ended up going to the little area, the campgrounds for the town. And I just did a 70-foot mural while the whole world was falling apart, you know.
I binge watched Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I watched Sons of Anarchy and Sopranos
That was my
again.
contribution.
That's what I did. No, well, the reason why I ask is because, you know, your gallery is right in the middle of Beverly Hills, and you were just saying, like, you know, the security guard called you, but
Yeah.
what you probably didn't see is what Alexandra and I saw, which was like Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, like, you know, South Santa Monica Boulevard. It was just completely gutted.
Boarded up, fires, looting, and
Well, the place I'm at now, all the windows were put out.
Yeah.
So the reason I got the spot, the store that was there, they got destroyed, and they didn't want to come back. And
Got
so they said, you know, you want to take a chance? Because when I came, there was still, I mean, everyone was saying I was crazy to come to LA because there was riots.
that is
Sure.
right in my notes.
Well-
It's like, come in LA, opening a gallery during COVID? Are you
Well, there
crazy?
was riots, fires, and pandemics, and I got 2 babies
And Beverly
and a
Hills
wife.
Housewives.
Yeah, and Beverly Hills. But you know what? I don't like to live in fear. When I said I have a different perspective than most, like even this, you know, you were talking about politics, you were talking about, you know, what's going on in the country today. Like my views are somewhat harsh, right? Because I was in a prison where I seen a guy throwing up blood and falling onto the floor and dying, right? I seen that with my own
Right.
freaking eyes, you know? And that was in 2009. And nobody cared, right? Nobody cared. Like
Right.
I seen guys getting life sentences. I walked the track with a guy who had double life for crack cocaine for shit, man. I owe you another. That's 20, right?
That's fine. I know
So,
you're good for it. We'll
my-
barter.
At
My
least
point
you're-
is, when you grow up and you see things like this, you know, you have a different perspective on stuff, and it allows me to be. I'm cautious, right? I'm very cautious. I don't have really many people around me, you know,
Sure.
except my family, because I'm an artist, so I'm alone a lot.
Mhm.
And because of that, you know, when coming out here, you know, for one, I've been coming out to LA for a while, for like 3 years now, and I met a lot of good people, right? So like one thing I love about LA, like I'm in love with LA. It's my home now, right? This is where I brought my wife and kids, and we have like nested here, and we're here now. I got a gallery. I got friends that have now become family,
Sure.
right? You know, and so like when everyone was saying I was crazy, it was because there was wildfires, there was riots, there was pandemics, but I had good people. I had 4 contacts out here. One was from a studio, New Wave Entertainment, Matt O'Shaker, my friend. Another one was Craig Gore. He was a writer for Law and Order and all kinds of other things. Another friend of mine was PG. He was a PG Kashiri. He's a writer. Did the movie Cutthroat City. He wrote that. And these are guys I've known for a long time. Kashiri I've known for 15 years, right? He'd been out here grinding his ass off in LA, you know. And then my other guy was Ricky Funes, who owns 10 Goose Boxing, right? Yeah. So these were the only 4 people that I had like solid, you know. And of course it was Andrew Bazan she was from the After School All Stars, but that wasn't someone I felt like I could lean on for, you know, to help me get into places. It was more with them, it was me giving them my time, not me taking theirs, right? So I didn't look at her as someone I could like, but she has become that, you know? So here I had 4 contacts, but all 4 of them were saying, hey, if you come out here, we got you, right? And I believed them. And I think that was the difference. And what's interesting is every single one of them did something in my life. I'm doing a new collection art I get excited about called the Domino Effect, right? Because my life here and how I got the gallery in Beverly Hills is a domino effect. I came here, my friend Paul introduced me to a guy named Mike, and then Mike introduced me into Charlie Chocolate. I call him Charlie Chocolate, right? Because he wears a Willy Wonka outfit, man, you know what I'm saying? He's the best old cat from New York, right? And all these cats, man, they're like street dudes too, that are doing good things though, right? And Charlie introduced me to Ellie, who introduced me to Sean, who gave me the building, right? He came, I took a shot. So when we came here in September, we didn't, our house that we had set up, it fell through. Like the day we got here, we drove across because we weren't going to fly. We weren't going to get in no plane or no bus. So we didn't even stay in a hotel. I literally drove from Chicago with 2 babies in a night and a half. It was insane.
No way.
No thanks.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
Well, I didn't want to stay in a hotel, right?
No, of course, because it's like the middle of fucking
it's the
COVID.
middle of everything. We didn't want to see anybody. Literally going to the gas station, man, getting gas and then hitting the road. That was it. Day and a half. It took. We slept at the rest area for like 6 hours. I would do like 3 hours. We'd go to the park. She'd go with the Lysol. I mean, it was freaking insane. I didn't swear on that one.
Yeah,
I
oh my God. Also Lysol. I feel so triggered. Arthur.
Oh no, it was nuts. We had Lysol spray and everything.
No, I know. I'm just like, God, Lysol spray. Like, just kill me.
But we did it. We probably rolled the quickest with 2 kids, man, ever, man. And I'm talking about it. They were crazy. The 4-year-old and 2-year-old. Imagine, man, going across the country.
I don't know how you did that.
Well,
I can't even go to the grocery store. You do have a good wife.
Yeah, she's amazing, man. But, you know, so here we are. And now, you know, the dominoes led to Sean to here, you know. And now it's like, because it was a huge sacrifice, right? And it was a huge, huge test. But
well, to leave your hometown, everything that you've known, the good and the bad, you know, where you spent your childhood, to leave all that is really scary. I hate change so much. Like, I'll live in the same place even if I was a multimillionaire because I hate moving and I just hate change. I can't imagine leaving everything and starting fresh in an unknown time, by the way. We don't know what the future is going to be like for commerce. We don't know what the future of Beverly Hills is going to be like. We just don't know.
No one knows. Yeah.
But Art, I want to talk about your youth a little bit more. I want to talk about your very first crime was devising the key that opened parking meters to get the coins out.
Damn, where were you when I was coming up? I could have gotten them Kate Spade bags a lot easier.
Well, you know, I was the kid who would drill a quarter and put a string and get free video games. Like, I was that kid. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know how.
I was always coming up with shit, man.
But how would you develop like a parking meter key? Like, how did you know how to develop it, how to test it, whatever? And I have to say, it came out of need. It was to feed your family, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, you know, just a kid goofing off. But and we're going to talk about the counterfeiting of the actual money because that's a whole other thing. But this comes from like a genius mind. Number one, to counterfeit the money
100%.
So well that the FBI and Secret Service couldn't even tell the difference between your product and their product. Yeah. But even for this as a kid, to know how to develop the key, how does that just come to you? Like, did you watch somebody put a key in and then go back and sketch it, or how did that even come about?
Well, I mean, for me, it was just everything. I've had people say that I've done genius things, and I say it's all accidental, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an accidental genius, man, you know, because everything for me, and you said necessity. So I came home one day from school, and my mom was there crying. She smoking a cigarette. She was bipolar. Our dad had took off. We're in the projects, man. It was just the worst of the worst you could have. And my brother and sister who are younger are sitting there, and she don't know what to do, and she's crying about us not having food. I opened the fridge, there's nothing in there. I grab my brother, I run out the house, and we're walking down Halsey Street, and I'm hitting the meters, but because I'm mad.
Yeah.
You know, like my mom's crying. We have no food. What are we gonna do? But I hear the change. You know, after 1 meter, then 2 meters, and then 3 meters, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's money in here. You know, let me see if I can figure out how to get it out. And so my mind has always been, you know, I've been blessed with a comprehension, right? Even with my art, you come to the gallery, everything's so insane, man, from diamonds to 3D paint to sculpture shit to space material. It's because I experiment. I like to play, tinker. You know, when I was a kid, when I was really little, I probably took apart every freaking toy that I've had, right? And then I would try to put them back together, but never could, right? Now I've got to the point where I could take it all apart and I could put it back together, right? So, you know, I just take things, and from hitting those meters, I started playing with it, and I seen there was something that was a little bit loose. And so I ran to the alley, I grabbed some metal, came back, and I bent it to where it would fit into what was loose. And then it turned. And when it turned, that's when I popped it, and, you know, and then I just went and boom, 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 boom. I got like $86. Went to Tony's grocery store. I bought my mom groceries. It was a great feeling, you know, to walk in the door with that. And that was really like where it all started for me, you know.
How old were you?
12 years old.
12, yeah. So like 7th grade.
Yeah. And so for me, like crime was like, I didn't care. Even now, I don't wear a watch, man. I could have whatever I want, you know. But what's important to me is people, my family, right? I help a lot of people even now, you know. I've had even people say, man, why do you donate so much of your art, man? And it's like, because, man, I'm going to be gone in another 30 years maybe, man, right? You know, 40 if they got cyber technology that keep my ass alive, you know. But
a hologram.
Right. What can I do right now?
Another
You
form
know?
of art.
So for me, it's like I didn't believe at first when people say that I inspired them, I didn't really believe that shit right away, you know. But then when I'd get a kid that's 19 years old that watched the Vice documentary on me, and he's texting me saying, hey, man, I'm going back to school because of what I seen you say on the Vice. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know what? Even if I help just that one kid, shit, it's worth it to talk about, right? Sure. And so that, yeah, so my childhood, yeah, it was hard. You know, my mom, you know, she did her best, but she was bipolar. Her schizophrenia would always go religious. So once a year for 30 days, she'd have to go into the hospital and get her lithium levels back up. And then I'd be sitting there, you know, 13, 14, 15-year-old boy every year pretty much in the projects taking care of my brother and sister, you know. And the DCFS never would come in and take us. And actually one time I hit us because I didn't want them. I didn't want them to split us up, you know. And I had anyway, I'd hide us, you know.
Yeah.
And it's this kind of story, it's this passion that you do share, and you do talk to youth, and you share this story. And Art, you are in a safe place, by the way. These stories do inspire other people, and I can't imagine what that must feel like. And that kind of energy and passion is in your art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's why I feel like today, right? Today is like the best of my life. I've never been in a better place than I'm in LA, right? And like leaving home, leaving Chicago was a tough decision, but like I said, I've been coming here for 3 years. I got good people here, really good people. Like I said, these guys, even right now, like they want to do an unscripted like show.
Sure.
And this guy, Mike, you know, that came out to my gallery last year and believed in me. He was another guy that was like, he was with Matt from New Wave, and they were like, look, you come out here, we'll do this. And they came through for me. So this is what's amazing about LA, because a lot of times you hear how LA, like, oh, you're going to go out there and there's this Hollywood bullshit, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
everybody.
Because that's
right.
That's the usual experience. What you're talking about is some fairy tale.
But is it though?
Story.
I don't believe that.
I was actually gonna say it's not.
No, it's
because
not,
I
man.
came the same. To be honest
but
with
it's
you,
rare.
It is. But I lived in a closet when I came down to LA. Similar to you, I was seeing someone. They told you talk about you came here and your house fell apart. I was dating someone and they ghosted me. I had nowhere to go. I met a friend of a friend from Burning Man. They let me live in a walk-in closet. Literally, I lived in a fucking closet. Sorry.
Yeah.
$3,500.
Yeah.
Whatever. I lived on a blow-up mattress in a closet thought you could take the bus because I lived in New York and San Francisco and I grew up taking the bus. I took the bus from fucking West Hollywood to the end of Santa Monica to intern. I was
that'll take
acting.
you 2 days.
I was the only person on the bus. I got on the bus. I was like, why is it me and 3 other people? But it's so funny because I actually came here and I did meet. I wasn't fortunate enough to have such a core group as you, but I did meet different people, great people along the way.
It
also,
does
you
happen.
and I met, and we were cool.
It takes
like
time though, and you need to see the red flags, and you don't share so much of yourself. I think a lot of people that come to LA, they want to share so much and be everybody's friend. And we've learned from being burned by the bad stories that, and you can almost sense. It's almost like a radar. It's like, this is good. This is good people.
Well, see, for me, I'm from the streets. So
you also were in prison. You know what's when somebody walks in.
Yeah. And I've been coming out here for 3 years now, right? And so the people that I mentioned, those are people that I would always be with, right? And I would feel comfortable. Then I would meet their people, right?
Of course.
And their people. And so this group, it's like even right now, I my story of LA is like, man, I attracted what I wanted. Right.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
the energy that you do. Put
right.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so mine was, of what my visions were with my gallery, with my, I wrote a book, Kane's Dagger. I want to turn into a movie. Right now,
who would you want to play you in a movie?
That's one of the questions.
I knew it was. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No.
I knew it.
That's one of the questions.
Who would you want to have?
I mean, I like the dude from King Arthur, that Charlie.
Charlie Hunnam. Excuse me, Sons of Anarchy just finished it.
My friend is his friend, by the way, because he was in Sons of Anarchy.
So, it'll
happen. And
so I'll tell you. So you mentioned about celebrity. So I'm so zoned out on my art. I'm on the corner of Santa Monica and Cannon.
Yes, I know exactly. I know. And
I've had my friends in there saying, "Hey, bro, you got." Because I was painting the window, right? I love to paint in the window, let people see like me doing something, right? Let's let people see what an artist does.
The process is as much fun as the finished product.
And I'm so confident in what I do because I've been doing it so long that I want people to experience that with me. And I've had little girls come by and wave. I've had homeless watch me. I mean, whoever it is, and so man. So for him, like he's I don't get celebrity struck too much, right? Because I don't even pay attention. I'm so far off in my art. But I've had my boys say, "Hey, man, I think this famous actress is watching you paint." And I'm like, "Oh, man, I don't even know who she is."
It's probably Jason Bateman.
Right? Just like, Jason Bateman. Yeah,
did she bring her credit card?
Yeah.
But, exactly.
But no, LA, man, it's been like a blessing to me, man. Like,
I love that.
it's for one, this town loves artists, right? So. Like I love Chicago, man. It's my home. I've been, I got family, people. It's in my blood, right? But for some reason, the Midwest, it doesn't. And maybe it's all cities. I don't know, but it's hard to get known in your city, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's from there, right? And so, he's here. But like I had to leave Chicago my first time. The reason I was able to go pro, I went to Miami. Right, I mean, I was fighting in Chicago,
that makes sense.
But that's the way.
Yeah,
people around you just never. It's not that they don't appreciate it, but they're like, oh,
he's here. He's here.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many people I had come to my gallery in Morgan from my neighborhood saying, "Hey, man, can I get a piece for $200?" And I'm like, "Dog, I don't go into your place and ask for a free burger or some shit." You know what I'm saying? Like
I do.
Well, I do. They give it to me, man. They give me free shit stuff.
I bet
all the time,
you do get free shit. I love
because
free
you're like
shit.
a nice guy, but like you can sit and just and talk to you. Like the three of us couldn't be more different in terms of like us on our probably daily basis. But the one thing you have that I think we all in this room share is passion and like
and I love people too, man.
And to share our stories.
Yeah.
We got this question from Instagram. Doing crime in your youth, you also talk about the fact that you were in a gang in Chicago, and the gang's kind of MO was car theft. That was a big part of what the gang did. And so this question is from Instagram. Doing crime in your youth, I have a feeling this person might be up to no good.
Yeah.
But we love you too.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel this morality versus crime poll? Did you ever think or know what you were doing was bad? And did you ever think that it could affect somebody in a bad way? Such as like stealing somebody's car, I guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, like, I don't. When I look through time, man, I don't feel like I've wronged too many innocent people, right? Like that's why I did the counterfeiting, right? I mean, when I was growing up, there were a lot of drug dealers. There were a lot of theft rings, you know. I actually got into a little jam in Texas when I was like 21 with some jewelry stuff that caused me to go to prison for like 2 years, my first time. And I felt so guilty about it. I swore I would never steal another thing in my life. And guess what? I haven't, right? I mean, I've made money and exchanged it, but I'm talking about like personally take something from another person. So there's always been a morality with me, but I think that goes back to my mom. Like even when we were in the gang stuff, I actually got out of the gang a crazy way. It was in the county jail. They wanted us to go to the church to do all our meetings, right? And my mom used to take us to church when we were little, and I believed in prayer and stuff. I didn't have a bad experience with it, you know. It's actually like one of the few memories I have with my mom that were good, right? Is going there and praying with her and spending time with her. And then, you know, through time, I came to my own spirituality, right? Which is more of, you know, I believe in energy and love and consciousness and things of this nature. But at that time, the church was something that was special to me, you know? And when I went to jail for some theft stuff, they were shipping me back to Texas, and they made me, because I was kind of a heavy dude on the street, so they made me, when I got to jail, they made me over a certain division, right? Certain part of the division. And so I had to fill out all these reports, how many members there were, you know, how much we had in the commissary, did we have any problems? And so you had a key card that you would write this whole report up, and then you would go down to the church and you'd have all the different, you know, leaders. There was folks and people, right? That's what it was, right? And the folks would be on this side, the people would be on this side. The preacher would be preaching while the people, just normal people, are in the pews. It was the most insane shit I'd ever seen in my life, okay? So here I am, the first time I go, I turn in my report, and I'm standing in this circle.
Are you in like plain clothes? Or
no, we're in jail clothes.
And
right,
so
right?
regular, like what I call them gen pop.
Yeah,
Like
population.
general population.
General population, yeah.
I'm thinking K-pop.
See,
I'm like,
no,
Gen
like
pop. See, I don't know this. This is why this is so fascinating to me.
But
I have
Alexander,
clue.
like if I go to an event and I'm not VIP, I say I
Gen
don't
Pop?
want to be gen pop.
Yeah, general pop. So
wait, so it's gen pop, and then
I'm
it's
writing
literally
down.
two different sects of gangs.
And we're talking about the heavy leaders, like the major players.
Of course,
right?
but is it all the same? So also, is it all the same race? Because I would also just like to say that I watch a lot of prison content. So it's all white people, but it's just different gangs.
No. So in Chicago, you have folks, you have people, right?
Okay.
And you might have in the folks, it rides under like the 6-point star, and the people is a 5-point star. So there might be 100 different gangs underneath the 6-point star.
Got it.
But in jail, that brings them all together to where they're together, right?
Got it.
So you might have whites, you know, Hispanics, blacks, whatever,
everything.
right?
Okay.
On both sides, right? So
Right.
like, you know, Simon City Royals, or you got the Popes that are white, you got Simon City that are white, you got Latin Disciples, Maniac Latin Disciples. So you got all kinds of different things. But
This is insane.
well, I'll tell you what was insane was what happened. So here's what happened. So I go the first time, and I turn my thing in, and I'm sitting here, and I'm listening, you know, part of it, and I'm like, man, it's not feeling right inside of me, right? My gut is telling me that this is the wrong thing to be doing right now, you know? And so I go back to my dorm, and I make a decision that I'm done. I'm not going to go to another one of those, you know? I'll keep doing the reports. I'll turn them in, and I'll send the dude underneath me to take care of it. So he does that twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row, every Sunday, right? The second time he comes back, they said, hey, man, you got to come in. You got to do it yourself. And I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go and do this, you know? And Cook County Jail was real dangerous back then, you know? And I seen a guy, so they used to give you matches for a violation. So if you did something wrong, remember the old wooden matches?
Yes.
So they'd light them and let them burn real slow while 3 guys beat on you, right? I seen a guy get killed next door for 3 matches. 3 of them killed the dude, right? So listen what they do. He goes there, he comes back, he says, hey, you need to go next week, right? And in my brain, I'm not thinking anything is going to drastically happen, right? I just figure they'll strip it from me and they'll hand it to someone else and be a little pissed with me, right? Well, no. In the Cook County, says there's so many different gangs. That one that was running was the Maniac Latin Disciples, which actually was having a beef with the gang I was on on the street, but in prison we were together. But on the
Right.
street they were beefing. So now here I
That
am.
happens a lot, Alexander.
Yeah. So here I am.
That I did know.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So here I am, like bucking him, right?
Yep.
And I'm the opposite. So what does he do? He sends a 7 freaking matches to burn and have 3 dudes beat on me because I wouldn't go. It was super excessive, man. Like it was a death sentence, basically, man. Basically saying you're dead. So I'll tell you what happened though, man. Honor amongst thieves, man. Check this out. So I go to my cell. I'm sitting in my cell. I get on my knees. I start praying. I'm like, all right, man, just take me quick. Let this be real fast. Just let them hit me in my neck, break it, whatever, man. Don't let me deal with this for a long time.
Sure.
They knock on my door. They walk me down to the corner cell, man. It was crazy. Open up. It's all musty. Inmates everywhere, And the one guy, Diak, big dude, comes up. He says, listen, Art, man, we all love you here. We can't do this to you, man. You've been good to us, man. We so we're going to take a code of silence in this room tonight that we're not going to do this to you. We got to do something. So we're going to give you one match and we're going to let you pick who gives you your violation out. And I picked my boys, of course, what I'm saying, right? They still got me a little bit. I don't know, maybe I got them on a card game or some shit, but, and so that's how I got out of the gang, man. It was that I stood on something that, and even now, even in the art game, the reason why I think I've been successful in the art game is because I stand on a lot of shit. And if that's telling a dude that we're another art, because artists get disrespected a lot,
Sure.
right? People want to abuse them. People want to take advantage of them. People don't want to see the worth in them. And I'm not that dude. I tell people I'm a street guy before I was an artist. I mean, my friends will tell you, man, people that come around me, if you disrespect my art or people in my I'll get real nasty with you quick. I don't negotiate my art. If I tell you 20,000 and you try to tell me 15, I'm quick to say, get the hell out of here. Right?
I love that.
It's 25 now.
I've told Getz, I'm not even selling you it now. Right. Yeah. And needed the money. Right. But so I do believe there's a certain, principle and things that I've done, and even now I think that's how it's led me to where I'm at,
Arthur, when you're in this jail kind of situation and you think that your life could literally be over in a matter of minutes because you're going to be attacked, what goes through your mind? What from your life flashes in front of your eyes, which does happen, by the way? I don't know if you've ever been in a close to life thing.
I have. Yeah.
And it literally, you see like a film.
Yeah.
What is going through your mind at that moment? What is it that you're reflecting on?
Man, I've been shot right here. I fell out of a building. I got ran over by a car. I was in 2 prison riots. No, listen, I could go on with shit. No, I could go on with shit, man. It doesn't even make sense. I trip out on it sometimes when I imagine what my life has been and how the hell did I live through this shit, even from driving around the country and posting
with
up
2
in
kids, that's
Beverly.
probably the scariest of anything
I think that was the scariest thing.
That was the
scariest of them all, right?
The 2 kids in the car.
Right? But point is, man, it's like I don't look at it. I used to have that flashback that you had. Or people have, right?
Yeah.
And now, even now, because I've had some, I got real sick last November before this all started. My son Da Vinci was in the hospital, or his children, and I knew I was screwed. My wife is North Korean, and her mom teaches in South Korea, and crazy story. Her mom comes back for the holidays, Of course, my wife takes the kids over there. Da Vinci gets really sick, 104-degree fever. Sarah goes and snatches them up, brings them back. At this point, you were just seeing the corona on TV, right? November, right? And he's got 104, so we rush him to the hospital because he can't move his legs.
Oh God!
And I tell the doctors, hey man, the grandma was in South Korea. He's like, oh, we're not worried about that right now. It can't be that. And so this is like maybe 3 a.m, and I have them on my chest, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, okay, I take a lot of vitamins. I drink a lot of water. I might be able to get past this one because I got a little kid immunity built up. Because I got them right there. Man, within like 3 hours, the whole emergency room was filled with like 50 kids, and I knew I was screwed, man. They were all coughing and sniffling, and I'm like, oh,
nothing more dangerous than a kid in preschool, let me tell you.
And here's a dude,
Germs.
in the emergency room, like, And anyway, so long story short, they tested them for A and B negative. They wouldn't test them for the other because they didn't even have a test. They actually gave us a prescription for influenza A, and I was like, Doc, you just said you don't have it. They said, well, it might be able to help in some manner. I'm like, this is insane. Took them home. 3 days later, I got hit, and man, I'm a strong man. I've been through prison viruses and shit, okay?
Sure.
I've seen like some real nasty crap in life in prison, and this thing beat my ass.
So you had corona, you
well,
think?
I don't know what it
Yeah, you
was,
probably
man. This was
did.
in November, but I've had sick before, right? And I
But it was never like that.
Oh, hell no, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the worst cough. It was a cough that I got a text I sent to my daughter. You know, right? Baby, I don't think I'm going to get through with. Everyone looks at me like a Superman, kind of, because I work.
Sure, because
the
you've
same-
been shot
Bigger than
multiple
life,
times.
too.
Yeah.
But so when I made the text, like, hey, I think this is the one, right? Like, I'm fucked. I'm excuse my language, but like, I'm
$50.
Yeah, I'm close to that 100, man.
Hundo.
But,
I'm trying to get that to that 20,000 painting.
But I overcame it. You know, I'm
oh,
here.
yeah, ditto.
$20,000 painting.
So you can cuss as many times as
Yeah,
you
we
want.
were saying we were going to barter with you
Yeah.
for some
we'll
art.
barter for some art. Yeah, I'm gonna let them roll then, man.
Yeah,
Here
we're
we
like,
go.
keep it going.
But hey, I got over it, you know. And
Yeah.
then, but it was a nasty something, right? You know. Yeah.
So Arthur, let's talk about your relationship with the $100 bill. It came from meeting Da Vinci, which is a name that is in your life in a variety of ways, from, of course, the artist, your son, but also Da Vinci was your mom's boyfriend who introduced you to counterfeiting the $100 bill. Number one, I want to know why the $100 bill? Why not the $20 bill that's under less scrutiny?
Well, you'd be surprised. Everyone would think the 20 would be under less
Because I would take a
scrutiny,
20 without even looking at it, but if somebody hands
the
me 100.
The 20 is actually the most counterfeited piece, right?
counterfeited a
Right?
$20
Did you really? You counterfeited one?
I'll put it out there. Even
Was it fun?
It was. Well, you know what? It was
But how
funny.
do you even do it? Like, how do
It
you
was
think
so
about it?
bad. So this is basically what happened: is we were just little kids. I grew up in San Francisco, running around Haight Street,
Yeah.
and I worked in a skate shop that is still there. I won't name it.
I can actually see you in this. Like, I can see.
Did you wear
I just
skates
see it.
in there and everything?
no, skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
I grew up like my best friend from across the street. Her dad started Thrasher magazine, so I was like the Thrasher girl. I'm
Oh, nice.
surprised.
I dated a skater.
I'm also surprised you have not. Of all the pictures you found of me on the internet,
I
I
have
am
not.
shocked. I was Hubba Girl of the Year 2008.
So, you know,
Hilarious.
next time you're on,
you
it's
can
gonna
get down on a board.
So anyway, yeah. So
Can she really? Yeah.
so I'm working in the skateboard shop, like whatever on the weekends, like allegedly smoking marijuana on Hippie Hill and allegedly doing whatever I'm doing, and like the end of the night we're counting all the money, and I realized that I got a fake $20 bill, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so screwed. I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And then I looked at it and I'm like, this, like, I mean, I took it, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
doesn't look that off. And so we started to try it with like a laser printer, and it totally worked. Luckily, we just did it allegedly with our friends that allegedly sold us marijuana, allegedly in the park, allegedly behind the
I love
McDonald's.
all the allegedlys.
So it's not like a real thing, but we
Yeah.
definitely tried it. And here's the thing is that, like, if you crumple it up, put it on the ground, get it nice and dirty, allegedly it feels like real money.
And let's be honest, if you're paying somebody at retail, I know that you did a lot of retail, like at Walmart is where you used a lot of the bills.
I did a lot of allegedlys too.
Also,
Allegedly.
No, man.
if it's allegedly
allegedly
at
did it.
Walmart, come on, I mean,
Well, no, but here's what I'm saying is that you're giving it to a cashier that's not even getting paid enough to do that job, and they're like, who cares? So I worked for a bank. That was my very first job,
that's right.
and we got enough fake 20s, and in the course of it, and we're at the bank, we're supposed to be looking at everything. You don't really pay attention until you pay attention.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, how did I not feel the difference? Then the FBI swooped in, and there was all of this
So
stuff.
the thing about the 20, so the 20 is actually the most counterfeited bill because people
Because
think
people
like
assume it's just going
it's
to go
gonna
under the
right
radar.
there. But what happens is what people don't know is when the money hits the bank and it hits the counter machine, it gets stopped, right?
Yeah.
So the key for a good counterfeiter is to try to get it through the bank, right? And that's what made my money so
Watch
good.
the money.
That's what. Well, it's not even wash it. It's
Oh.
just that. So
No, it's not. That was
no. So here's what happens. No. Here's what happens.
I'm trying to be like all cool kids.
He's been wanting to say that,
Watch
Arthur,
the
the
money.
whole
Hey,
episode.
Hey, well, I might have at one time in my early days watched a little money, but
Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah. But no, so what happens is when someone spends a bill, that retail store will take that money and they'll drop it off at the bank, and the bank will run it through their counter machines. If it gets stopped there, which 99.9% of the chance it's gonna get stopped, right? What'll happen is Secret Service will come in, and then they'll start looking at all the banks that are getting hit with that one bill, right? Then they'll take that and they'll start looking at all the security cameras. Even back in the day, they still had them, right? They'll look for license plates numbers. They'll look for similar people at the same gas station. It's like a science that they do, but I studied it. That's how I was able to beat it for so long.
How were you able to study it back then?
Because my money, the reason I did hundreds is because I made it so good it would go through the bank. The bankers were always looking for the 20s because that was the most widely thing. My money had the strip, had the watermark. It had the magnetism in the strip that would let it go through.
How
right?
did they? But
Well,
allegedly through. Like
It was
what
No,
kind
not
of fucking?
allegedly, no.
This whole process.
This shit wasn't
That I
allegedly.
couldn't even
Oh,
tell
yeah.
the difference.
Yeah, this wasn't allegedly. This was shit went through the bank, man. Okay, and the way it did is so. Again, like I like to use things, right? I like to take shit apart, right? So I figured out that you could go to the U.S. Patent Office copyright on the internet when it was still new, and you could put up a patent number, and it'll give you this. It'll give you the patent and the schematic. That's
Literally, how to.
how to, right? You can look up like nuclear weapons and shit. It's great. Don't say that. Cut that one out. No.
This is live, baby.
No, okay, no. But if right now, if you go to U.S. Patent Copyright,
Yes.
it's amazing the information you get. So
I'm counterfeiting Spanx for men.
So my friend, his mom worked at the bank. She gave me the little patent number off the back box, the back of the box on the counter machine. I went and punched it in. It gave me.
I hope she got a kickback.
Oh no, I always took care of my friends, man. I still take
Well
care
played.
of my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was at the bank. I was a teller with acne all over my face. I was a senior in high school, and so it was when the $1996 or $100 bill came out. And at the bank, we're like, "Oh, this bill is unstoppable." Like because there was there was the watermark, and then you would use the marker, and then there was like the little strip inside. There was no way anybody could counterfeit this bill if it passed the basic test. And yours did. You spent the first $100. This is according to Arthur Williams' mythology.
Yeah.
You spent the first $100 on a pack of cigarettes, and you've talked about the thrill of using that, and it was almost an addiction, even greater than heroin per se. Do you remember the moment when you actually put that bill down, and where you were looking at them and they were looking at you? Like, I can't imagine.
What was the brand of cigarettes?
Newport.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I
The
thought
crystals. The
I was-
crystals.
I
I thought you'd be like a camel man.
No way.
Man. I was a Newport guy, man. Even now, I'm fucking dying to hit my smoker. I swore again, man. Right? No.
I'm a
It's a
Virginia
vape.
Slims kind of
It's
guy.
It's vape, man. I've been sitting there.
Oh my
No.
God.
Well, you know what? This actually has helped me quit smoking. I haven't smoked in 2 years because
That's
of this.
great.
And then they were going to outlaw this, and I was like, oh, man, come on. Don't do that to me. This thing actually
Don't
helps
do
me.
it. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
But anyway, so no. Listen, so
That first 100.
the first 100, it was, I tell you a story about it. I got my leg crushed. So I was nervous, right? I was young. And I was getting out of my car, and the car next to me, and here I'm going to spend my first 100. This is what they didn't talk about. I never really told this story. As I'm getting out of the car, this car next to me started backing up, and the bumper ran up against the door and pushed the door against my leg. I got the scars still, and my leg was crushed in there. I'm screaming, holding it. And so finally the lady pulled up, right? I jump out, my leg's all messed up, blood. I got the fake money in my pocket, right? She's saying, oh, please don't call the police. Now the car was it was scratched from her, right? I actually told her, just go, right? Because I'm going to go in there to spend the money.
You didn't think it was a sign from up above, like, don't do this?
When
I wasn't listening to no signs. 'cause
when
I
you
went
write
in-
your movie, you have to include that
Oh, that
because
was a
that's
crazy thing.
that's a really good build up.
And you know what?
Can I play the crazy lady in the car?
Oh, she was crying, screaming, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm like, man, just get out of here. I want to go in.
That's
And then
insane.
I did. I went in. And so my leg is bleeding, man. I'm walking up to the counter. I mean, yeah. But you know what? When I walked out with that change,
$95 and whatever cents.
it was
Yeah,
it was
well
one of those feelings like, it was a certain power to it, right? I knew that I just beat something that they said was unbeatable, right? So there was and then there was even a level of I'm not gonna say fear, but concern, because I'm like, oh shit, man, I just really figured something out here. And so there was kind of like that paranoia set in really, really, really quick, because, I mean, I always thought big, even now. And I know that even though you're talking about the QAnon conspiracy shit, but I do know that there's certain things that move out there that will mess you up quick if you're playing with their money, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so
Illuminati.
Yeah, well,
It's
all
out
that
there.
shit, man. There's a lot of shit out there we don't know. There might be
for
aliens
sure.
underground or some shit, but I'm just saying that there was a level
Under
where
the ground.
so there was
Yes.
some shit where I said, okay, man, I got to be real careful. That was one of the things I think reason I had a long career, right? I haven't ever really been like balls to the wall in the sense that where maybe some guys would have figured that out and said, oh shit, like they're doing in Canada, I'm gonna print 100 million. I was like, wait a minute. I already knew that the streets were dangerous. I've been dealing with them for a while. And so I devised a science where I would only sell a certain amount at a time, because I knew once you got over 500 grand, that's when people start killing you. Okay.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean.
So if I kept money levels low and then made it to where I was the only one giving it to you, so you had to come to me, right? So if you hurt me, well, guess what? You can't get the shit no more,
So it's been estimated that you printed as much as 10 million in fake money.
I probably burned 10 million. I don't know.
Does that number astound you when you hear it worded that way? Does that number astound you, or is it like
No, especially like I'm surprised I didn't print more, honestly.
But like you said, you had a system. You've also talked about that there are 3 things that led to your downfall, and there's like 3 unbroken rules that you shouldn't have broken. Can you share those 3?
I mean, telling people, right? You're always supposed to keep your operations small.
True.
Right? And that's where I went wrong, right? Because my stuff was small. Me and Natalie at first, we were just traveling the country, buying stuff for kids. I mean, that was how it ended up. Dropping all the charity stuff off and then go to the next town, right? We felt like Robin Hood doing it. But then when I went back to Chicago and I started getting more people involved, started trying to do different things that caused people to be around, boom, everything fell apart, So keeping your operations small, right?
And like pride, being prideful in.
Well, money goes to your head. I mean, we see it all the time happen to people, right? Even the best of us can get caught up in it,
Of course.
I mean, money, I call it gold fever, right?
Yep.
Because even now, as an artist, and I do pretty well, I go through things that, like I don't look at life as like a celebrity, but I've had a lot of stuff done on me. Vice, American Greed, Rolling Stone, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I've had people
On the Rocks with Alexander.
on the Rocks.
I mean,
right?
at this
Right?
point, you're kind of like, what else is there?
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm
Oprah?
saying,
Scissoring isn't a thing. Call me.
but I didn't realize what they go through, right? Like I didn't.
It's the worst.
It's
fame.
insane.
Fame is a disease.
Yeah, I mean, I read that thing. I think Reese Witherspoon. I read something on her that she was going through some things, and so when my art took off, I started going through the same thing, and it reminded me of my money. Anytime I told somebody that I was a counterfeiter and I printed money, well, for instance, my father, who I went looking for to try to get out of it, and as soon as I tell him, my father's the one who brings me back into it. Holy shit, man, So it money and the thought that you can just make it, right, was always fascinating to people around me. Even today, that's why I'm here, right? I mean, that and my art, and but being in the mix of it, and it's so funny because now it happens with the art, the same shit, and I'm still printing money too, right? See, I got all kinds of printed hundreds on the walls
in
at
a
the
way,
gallery,
What's always fascinated me is the concept of money. And I worked in a bank for so many years. I worked in the entertainment division of a bank in like a whole different role. And you get to see what the idea of millions look like, and how celebrities, after a few million, it really becomes just this idea in a cloud. You can't tangibly spend it all. You can't tangibly experience it all. And we're talking about money that's printed. Money really has no actual value. It's paper. You made it yourself. Mm-hmm. And so we're putting this value on this paper that's being printed in this account. Like when you log into your account, it's a number that's given to you, but where is that number? It's all this idea of what money is and the value it actually has.
Well, that's why Bitcoins and NFTs are so interesting. I mean, I myself have
I fought it, but it's like
no,
now it's like a
I
thing.
got on board with
Did you
Bitcoin.
really?
I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
did.
yeah.
I did, and it's so funny because an ex-boyfriend of mine, who was a very serious boyfriend of mine in my early 20s.
Neil Patrick Harris.
No, definitely not. No, I mean, he was wrapped up a little in gangs and selling drugs, and he ended up having to leave the country. And the last I heard
Holy
of him,
shit.
he lives in Bali and is like a Bitcoin it's like it's so funny that I'm here.
Yeah,
Alexander
yeah.
asked me to be here because I was on Thursday last week. Someone said, "Have you heard about what happened to him?" And I'm like, "Oh God, that was 15 years ago. I don't know." And they're like, "Yeah, he left the country, lives in Bali, and if you look him up, he's like a Bitcoin. He's like a huge
billionaire in
He's like a
Bali.
billionaire.
Yeah,
No, because he cannot come back to the country,
Really?
right? So."
Wow.
It's interesting, and I really fought the Bitcoin thing and Ethereum and
Yeah.
all these different things.
Ripple and
I
all-
know, but
yeah.
then I started to really do the research and
But
understand.
it's a concept.
It is a concept, but the fact that Jay-Z just traded Tidal with Jack Dorsey from Twitter for NFTs and for Bitcoin. I'm sorry, but like it's here. It's not going anywhere.
It's funny because you're talking about like bartering. You're bartering a physical thing that has value for another physical thing. But then if I transfer money to you, it's just this idea.
Well, but what about all
this
these artists
concept.
selling things for NFTs? Like that is so interesting. Or like making pieces of
It's
art,
scary
making
because-
pieces of art like Banksy's been doing for years that like are really just experiential and disappear. I think, you and I were talking about before we started recording about how important it is, not only the piece of art that you make, but like where it's placed, the timing that it comes out. Like,
Oh,
I think the interesting thing about NFTs and Bitcoin and really kind of expanding our minds. Obviously, I've allegedly done a lot of mushrooms in my life, but like
I'm right there with you,
really
girl.
thinking about like all the different all the different ideas of what commerce and value is. Because you're right, it's just numbers on a screen.
This is a great segue, Liz Culley. On the show, we do a little hot topics. Kurt, take it away. It's time for Hot Topics on the Rocks with Alexander. Better pour yourself another.
This is hot. That's hot. That's hot. This is really hot. That's hot.
Okay, it's so hot. Here's the hot topic, talking about value and assumed value. In 2019, and Kurt, if you could put this picture up, a painting by artist Robert Ryman titled "The Bridge" sold at auction for $20.6 million. The painting resembles his other works that include white-on-white paintings, his work typically going for millions. It's a white painting painted on a white canvas.
You gotta love it.
It's in the
I love it.
email, Kurt. So art or ridicularity, these all-white paintings are part of an art movement that emerged in the late 50s called minimalism.
Yes.
It began as a rejection of another movement in the 40s and 50s called abstract expressionism. The movement called for art that is expressive in untraditional and non-representational in any way. And here's the painting.
Yeah.
$20.6 million.
A lot of texture there.
Love
And
it.
so this movement is about simplicity and harmony. It's supposed to be as far removed from the artist as possible and stripped of whatever burden of being anything else. It's that. And although the paintings seem like they require no art skills whatsoever compared to a lot of other art, the value of the work is about the idea rather than the expertise or construction.
Yes. And
What say you?
what
20.6 million for white on white canvas.
The idea of the banana on the wall. Remember that one?
Okay, so this is that same thing. So
What about Marcel Duchamp with the
Yeah.
the
How about
toilet
the
seat?
well, yeah, I did a toilet seat too.
There
Ben
you go.
Franklin on toilet, ship money down the toilet. Yeah.
Love it.
No, I mean right now
but
it's
20.6 million.
Well, it's funny that you mention NFT because like I'm right in the middle of some really heavy stuff.
I'm
with that.
sure.
Yeah, heavy.
I can
heavy, right?
imagine.
I've been real slow and cautious to move with it, but I've positioned myself really well, and it's pretty ironic with me because NFT is going to be, I think, like the next crypto almost, right?
Yes.
People are going to be using it as, it's an Ethereum-based platform, right, where they're moving things around. What I'm finding really interesting is because, like, I used to print money, right, to turn into money, and now I take my printed money art that I'm turning into NFT. Like, I'm literally probably the only man in the world who is taking printed currency that I'm known to print and then taking it into turning it into art to turn back into currency.
Well, right.
You're doing the
So
full life
the
cycle.
full, it's almost like
of-
I'm the press now. I'm the mint, baby. Call me Artie Mint.
But I think that's the point though.
That's what's
Does
happening,
this
though.
art have value, though? We're looking at a white painting on a
Yes,
white canvas.
I think it has
Does
value.
it have $20.6 million of value?
Well, here's the thing about value in art, right? It's the owner. The owner feels that that's worth $26 million. He gave
All of
he's
his
shown-
art is the same way. Why don't I get a white canvas and slap some white paint on it?
Because there's, and that's when I come back to kind of what we were talking about before. It's the time, the place, the energy. I don't know. I mean, and I don't think this is the best example, but I just recently rewatched the History Channel's. You know, they do Genius series, and I watched the Picasso one, and it's not that great, but I watched it. Antonio Banderas, can't say no. And a lot of the
I can say no to modern day Antonio.
Okay,
Banderas.
just let me finish real quick. What I'm trying to say is what was interesting to watch the story was really Picasso pushing back on like
Yes.
impressionism and really,
that's where this minimalism comes from, like Pollock.
exactly. And so he kept pushing back on it, and he's like, I understand that what I'm painting doesn't quote look like a person, but it is the feeling and the emotion and the time of that person. And I think that for something like this, it's if you can, and also I'm a salesperson, so I'm like, whoever that person is a fucking genius because they just
Selling
sold
it
somebody
has
a 20
obviously
million.
not have been a problem, but does it have any value to the art history? Does it have any value to teaching an art student?
I think it does.
I mean, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, even the banana on the wall, which pissed me off, right? The whole concept of it. I said, okay, this is the thought that a person had, that he created a moment, that created an experience that caused a lot of emotionals, whether they're good or bad, right? And what is art? Art is life expressed through what,
and it
like
should
for me-
incite something.
Well,
Does that white on white painting incite anything from you?
But for me, no, absolutely not, right? I see a blank canvas, right? I want to paint on it.
Does
That's
it
what I wanna
incite
do.
anything?
I want to go print something on it for real.
From-
I mean, but anyway.
I mean, no, yeah,
the
that
idea-
bothered me.
but-
I agree.
But according to what you just said, it's.
But here's
I
the
know,
thing,
but
though.
that's
it's art.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, is again, so I was even talking about to Sam about this, is like, because I went through a time in my art career. So I studied in prison, right? I didn't go to an art school. I didn't have, I mean, heck, I had an inmate for my first teacher who I surpassed really quick, right? And when I got out, I did 7 years and I studied. I mean, I studied the masters. I mean, and would go and do their techniques. And so, and I started with oil, which was unheard of. I mean, I didn't even know how to
Oil's
paint.
like the most difficult
Difficult,
way
yeah.
to
Yeah,
jump
literally.
into painting, by the way.
And so and that's what I was told, right? So I started with the hardest. And so when I got out of prison and I was trying to be an oil painter, right, which was taking me 3-6 months a year to do some of these paintings I was doing because they were really detailed. Yet I wasn't known as an artist, so I couldn't sell it for 100,000 or 200,000. So here I'm spending, 6 months on a painting, and then I'm only selling it for $2,000. I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna work, right? And when I started to transfer into more work, because I love to print, I'm a printer, right? And there was a time in my art career where I was like ashamed to combine the two. Really weird. There was a funny, guilty feeling inside of me that if I mixed the oil with my print, that it would devalue my art somehow, right? And we're talking about value, and this is why I bring it up. When I finally accept that I am this, man, I am a printer, I am a painter, I am a creator, and however I express that thought, that is the art. So for us to judge this man at that time when he did this blank canvas and the thought is the
It's
art.
all of his.
I agree.
Every
Thought
single
is the art.
painting he
Yeah.
did, though, is
yeah,
that.
Yeah, and for us to say, we could sit here and say, oh, well, it's just blank paintings. But during the time in the 50s, as you said, that's when it was, the 50s?
Right.
Okay.
Now, the white on white actually started in 1918 by a Russian painter.
But this is when
you know the Russians are
But
bleak.
nobody
so.
was doing. There
No,
was
yeah,
so much controversy to do something like that.
$20.6 million.
So like even right now, you're having the thing where digital artists are finally getting recognized, right? That's what's happening.
Which has been a
right?
whole other conversation because they're
Yeah.
like, well, somebody doing Photoshop or doing it on their computer is not like actual physical art. Is it still art?
Well, here's
Yes.
what I'll tell you. I have some stuff.
I believe that, too.
I have some stuff that I digitally took me 100 freaking hours to do, right? Physically, one piece I got digitally, because for me, when I was in prison starting to do art, I had no Photoshop. We had nothing, man. We had
And they told you to paint flowers.
Yeah, they did.
And
you
you're
know?
like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, now I love
I'm
flowers.
Arthur J. Williams. I almost
Right.
got killed. I'm not going to paint
Yeah.
flowers.
But now that's my favorite thing. I love painting flowers now. I got so many flowers now. They're my favorite, right? But my thing is
Interesting.
we had no computer. We had no nothing, right? When I wanted to get a model, I'd have to go get magazines. I had thousands of magazines, right? I'd go get pictures and then I'd sketch it out and I'd put this whole themed art, because that's what I do. I do a lot of themed art, and then I would transfer it to the canvas, and then I'd paint it, and this would be a long, drawn out process, right? And now, because before I went to prison, they called my stuff the hybrid note, because we were using inkjets and lasers to do the serial numbers and the seals, but we were doing offset to do the color of the money and then the face, because we can make that ourselves.
You were making art.
Yeah. So I said, okay, let me do this now with my art. Let me combine the two. Let me say, wait a minute, why do I got to go through this barbaric manner to create something? And I've done that already. I don't have shit to prove to nobody. I've already done that way, all right? My thing is I got to support myself as an artist, and so I need to make art that I can sell, right? And I think that's where a lot of artists get lost, because, and it happened to me 4 years ago when I went professional. I had about 8 or 10 paintings, that I had worked for. And then all of a sudden people want my stuff. And I started to try to fill the orders, right?
And it became about
Yes.
being quick.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? And what happened, though, is I was still trying to do it the old way, thinking that the old way was the only way and the right way, rather than being a free artist, right?
Sure.
And just creating the way that I knew I could create. And I struggled, man, for the first 2 years, hardcore, right? To try to keep up, to try to keep it right. And then when I finally let go of those old thinking, right? Because that's what we have in all kinds of things of life, whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's your preference in marriage, whether it's in your art, whether it's in your, we all hold on to old thinking. That's what's going on in this country today.
I certainly do. Like
right?
I said, I hate change.
Right? People, but when you really, and I think that's what makes art so amazing, right? Because it freed me from prison, for one, right? Really freed me from prison. And then it freed me again mentally, right? In my own mind, right? And I think that'll be the lesson in my art, hopefully in one day, that I inspire people to just be free, man. And that don't mean, like, for me, I love and care about people, right? No matter what. I have that genuine love and care for people. Now, I don't have to like that person, right?
Sure.
I don't
Why'd
have
you
to
point
agree
to
with.
me?
No.
Because
I'm
he
just saying,
likes me.
I
Just
love
teasing,
you.
I'm just
I love you.
teasing.
Well, I'm saying so I think art has brought me, and hopefully in the future will bring other people. I call it 1,000 years of creation, man. I hope that we come into that age of creation where the tyrants are gone. The leaders who don't care about people, only care about their pockets. I hope they're gone and the creators take over. That's like my vision of the world.
Sure.
Overthrow with the creative touch. Ta-da.
Now, did you get any kickback in jail when you decided, hey, I want to start into painting? Because my thought, I'm just hypersensitive to masculine versus feminine, that, oh, he wants to do art, and you're in a very emasculated environment. Did you get any kickback from your inmates?
here, I'm going to share a really cool story with you that I have not ever really told. It would be the first time. So
Love an exclusive.
And it's always kind of like, because you get nervous talking about certain things that you don't really know too much about, right?
Sure.
So like,
but that's the way that we learn.
Yeah. So like, there's times, like, for instance, like I have a lot of African American friends, but then when the whole thing was going, I didn't know to say African American or black. I didn't know what to say, right?
I literally said that on the show. I'm like,
Right.
do we say African American now?
Exactly,
Do we say
right?
black?
'Cause
I
you go
felt
through-
bad saying
yeah,
black.
Yeah. So even me, I go through it. Is it gay or homosexual? Like, I don't know, right? Because you don't really talk much about it. But
Sure.
my teacher in prison was a gay man, right? And it was a really strange instance, because when I took the art class, and it's not, prison is a hard place, okay? Even in the lightest of prisons, I was in Forest City, Big Springs, Manchester, Kentucky. Big Springs was a hellhole. Forest City was easier, but they were all prison, right? And there's always certain things, like, so, gay men have it hard, right?
The worst.
The worst, right? White people have it hard too, right? They get, it's not an easy place for them. Fortunately for me, I was a strong man. People knew who I was. I had a lot of respect. And so when I took the painting class, the teacher was gay, but I didn't care, right? You know?
That must have had some risk to it, though.
It did. No, it did. And I'm going to finish telling the story because there was a lot of risks that came to it. I'll finish. So it was kind of like when I got out of the gang story, right? So I took the class, and right away he wanted everyone to paint a flower, right? And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Here I am in a painting class with a gay teacher painting a flower. I'm like, okay, this, even though I don't really care, I kind of got to pay attention to this. I can't let people, you know, because people will attack you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I stepped off, right? I didn't want to paint flowers. Plus, I knew it could have been, you know, a touchy situation. And then about 3 weeks later, I'm walking the track, and he came out there, and he was nervous coming up to me because I was somewhat of a known guy in prison, right?
Sure.
And he said, "Hey, man, can I talk to you for a second?" I'm like, "Wow, what's up?" He's like, "Man, why'd you quit?" And I'm like, "Look it, man, I'm just not into flowers, you know." He's like, "Man, but, you know, I'm watching you mix the colors, and just a little bit you were there, you could really do something." And I said, "Well, listen, man, if you let me paint what I want, I'll come back." He said, "Man, whatever." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna paint some money." So I painted an 1896 $1 bill. But here's the interesting thing. Me and Chris Kangley's his name.
Where's that painting?
I sold it to a car dealer, right? But I'll
All
say
these
this.
people. God damn it, Alexander.
I'll
We're
say
always
this.
Barter.
Hey, I'll
we're
say this.
a dollar late and a dollar short. What?
I say
is
this.
that?
A Bitcoin.
I went
early-
back to that. I went back to that class. Me and Chris became actually really good friends. Okay. And it became a very interesting story because here is this tough South Side gangster ass dude in his class, and he is, you know, a gay man who people have given him problems with, right? And we had a friendship, right? For what, 3 years, I think, every day. And one instance, maybe a year and a half into it, people started leaving him alone because of me, right? They started saying, "Wait a minute, that's Art's, he's teaching him," you know. And there was one instance where an individual gang member came in there, white guy, who I was cool with, said something real nasty to him, right? And this is like a year and a half into it. And I went outside, and I literally almost caused a war because of it, right? Here I am sticking up for a gay man in prison, right? I'm not gay. I love my wife. I got kids, but I respect people, man.
Sure.
Right? I respect people, and I think all people should be respected. And that means even me, straight man, right? You know? But me and him, that was the beautiful thing about that. He never came on to me. He never bothered me. He knew what I was, and that was it. And he respected that, you know? And I learned so much from him, and I learned so much from that moment, you know? It taught me that, you know, even, you know, you have to stand for what you believe in, you know, even in the roughest and hardest environments. And if you can do that, then it'll inspire other people to stand up for theirs too, right? And that's what happened in that moment, because then what happened? People started saying what's up to him. People started to acknowledge him because of me, which, okay, maybe that ain't the exact way that you want it to happen, but it did,
Yeah.
right? People said, "Wait a minute, Art's talking to him. I could talk to him too."
Sure.
So when we become that, when we start to show that to one another, right, then other people will maybe react to it, man. And so, like, my art, my life, my story, everything is about, you know, giving people hope that we can get over this shit, man, you know? And yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with it, man.
I love.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
He's in Texas, man. He runs a big factory. Actually, my first year out of prison.
What's his phone number?
No, he's good. He actually, crazy story, because my first year out of prison was tough, and he was always a smart dude. He ended up going to Texas and started running a huge facility down there. And my first year out of prison, man, I was having a hard time. He's like, "Look, if you come down here, I could get you a job." And so, you know, I still talk to him a little bit on Facebook and stuff, but it was a powerful moment in
That's
prison.
cool.
Man.
I love that.
And the more stories we hear from our allies,
Yeah.
you know, this is how we build bridges, is by having conversation and actual personal relationships. So thank you for being an ally, because
Yeah,
that's
sure, man.
that's our. So we have a lot of questions, and part of it was the day.
Is there any way we take a quick break? We're live, right? There ain't no break in here, right?
There's no live. There's no break.
There ain't no break.
Do you have to go to
Man,
the bathroom or what?
Bad.
Okay, I'm gonna do Liz's rapid fire, And
It'd
so,
take 2 seconds. I'll
Yeah.
like shoot and shoot
yeah,
back.
yeah. Okay.
I'm like, I got light.
It's fine, Art. I like
Okay.
I like private time
like
on the
private
camera.
time?
Yeah,
I'm
I love
going
it.
right
Art's gonna
back
go,
to
but
the-
don't you go because we're gonna take a look at his new gallery.
Yeah.
Go. We're gonna take a video look at Art's gallery, but in the meantime, Liz, I'm gonna ask you some rapid fire questions.
Okay. Oh God, I just got caught on. This is a mess. What's happening?
All right. What would a movie made about your life be called?
Been there, done that. A not great guide to being great.
That's the longest title I've ever heard in my
I
life.
don't know. You put me on the spot. Okay.
Been there, done that, though. Yeah, I can see
Been there,
that.
done that. I
And
think
like
that.
Drew Barrymore would probably play you. No, but she's a little too old.
No.
though.
I think like Lily Reinhart.
What about Blake Lively?
Sure, she's so beautiful,
Wow, she's so.
but she's not funny.
Her
Instagram is funny,
banter
but
with-
she's not
okay,
funny.
Okay.
Okay.
If you had a counterfeit $100 bill, what would you spend it on?
Makeup.
Okay.
I don't know.
Like, you'd buy one brush at like Sephora. It's like $100.
I
Like,
know. Well,
Look at this brush.
I mean, it sounds so funny, but it's like $100. Like, I don't know. I'd go to like Whole Foods and go to the hot bar, like go to Erewhon and buy like 3 things. Like, actually, you
Isn't
know
it
what? I would go to Erewhon because they deserve the counterfeit money.
I remember when I was young, like, exactly. When like I graduated and somebody gave $100, it's like, wow, it's $100. And now it's like,
Welcome to LA.
yeah, it's like, yeah, that's parking. Biggest pet peeve when interviewing somebody for your podcast?
Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Is when they go to the bathroom in the middle of it. Just kidding. My biggest pet peeve when interviewing someone is when they won't answer questions.
Yeah, I hate that. Best movie pick for the Academy Awards this year?
There's been movies out to be picked for the Academy. Promising Young Woman.
We're gonna have a separate episode about this. I thought it was one of the worst films I saw this last year.
They're my client. I love them. I love you focus film features.
Love you, Focus Films.
Oh, actually, no, Minari. Minari is so
good.
yeah,
good.
Minari. That's my final answer.
So we have talked about your extensive modeling career, and there's
Oh,
so many
God.
pictures, you guys, and they're amazing, by the way.
That's
God.
And you have an agent today. Your model photo shoot horror story,
Oh my God, I have so many
the worst one.
horror stories. I think the worst. Oh my God, there are so many. I mean, I've had so many creepy moments. I think the worst was when I don't know if you found this photo on the internet, but I was naked and they glued like 400 flowers and leaves
Oh, I saw
all
that, but I didn't want to
over-
play that. 'cause I
Thank you.
didn't-
All
that's it.
over my body, and I had so much makeup on, and they teased my hair, and I had to stand in front of this fan for hours, and I was just, by the end of it, that's like the most PG rated. Also, I did do American Apparel, and it was as creepy and as awful
Yeah,
as
I've
the
heard.
rumors are.
Wow. That sounded- wow, my visual was insane.
Was
right
it?
now.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to ask.
Oh.
Okay, so Art,
yeah.
so we do have to wrap things up, but I have to answer some of the questions from
Listen,
Instagram.
real quick.
So how did they find you? Was it a knock at the door when you got
Ooh.
arrested? Was it a knock at the door? Sometimes they kind of let you know that they're going to come get you.
Now, me and my son were arguing. He was trying to be me. Rolling Stone had came out with this article on me. My son read it. He was 15. His mom was a Chicago police officer. She basically.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yes, you guys have to look up the phone. I mean, I have pages and pages of this,
it's
but
crazy.
that is a crazy fact from your life.
Crazy stuff,
Yeah.
right? And he was trying to be like me. You know, I come home one day. I was actually trying to do a big deal where I was going to be printing the euro. I wasn't printing American money anymore. And I was doing a real big deal, and he was trying to print 20s like you, right? He was trying to be like
I
you.
allegedly
Yeah,
was
allegedly.
not doing that.
Well,
I got it at a skate shop.
He wasn't allegedly. He was
Federal
doing it. I
offense.
walked in on him. So here I am about to do this huge deal. And I walk in and he's printing 20s on the printer. And I kicked him out. He ran outside. I ran out after him. Throws the money at me. The cop was passing by.
Oh,
That's pretty much what happened. Yeah, I actually probably got the shortest federal indictment ever in history. It's like literally one paragraph. Usually federal indictments are like 60 pages, you know. Mine literally is one freaking paragraph. One paragraph, you know. Possession of $1,200. And but there was some things that were going on.
Printed about $10 million, but this is what.
But here's the thing: they didn't ever catch me with anything. Like, it was a crazy story. So they were about to they raided a place that they thought I had all my equipment, and the Secret Service, they were jamming me up. We got you now. And I said, man, the stuff's not in there. And they were like, oh no, we got you now. And so they went in there, and there was nothing in there. Right. Next day, the Secret Service came to take me to court, and they're like, oh, you think you're a funny guy? I'm like, listen, man, just because I'm a counterfeiter don't mean I'm a liar. I told you there was nothing in there, you know. And they've never caught me with anything. But my son throws the money at me. They wanted me to you know, maybe give up some information that I didn't have or wasn't going to give, and just took my hit on the chin. And so they really knocked my head off. You know, 7 years was a long time, you know. So yeah, but that's how it happened, man. No knock at the door, man.
Damn.
It was just a freak thing. But I mean, this whole thing has been freaked. Even my art career has been wild as hell, man. You know, it's like, you know, from the money to this. But you know, what's really interesting about this is, like, when I started my art career, it was by reading biographies about people, right? I got into it with the assistant warden. They threw me in the hole for 9 months. So can you imagine going into your bathroom right now, locking yourself in there for 9 months and not coming out? That's what I had to deal with, right? So when people were complaining about being locked in their house, I'm like, man, you guys got no clue what it can really be like, you know?
Right.
But during that time, I read like 60 biographies, man. I just started ordering biographies. And that's what got me started painting, because I came across The Agony and Ecstasy with Michelangelo. But what I learned, though, through all those biographies and even my own life, was that they all failed, man. Everyone failed and everyone got up, right? That was the difference between the cats that succeeded and the cats that didn't, right?
It's true.
And so for me, it was just like, you know, prison was time for me to get my ass up and do something with it, you know?
I just tell you, biographies are my biggest inspiration.
Love
I'm
'em.
addicted to
Love
reading.
'em.
It could be about
Love them.
anything, because it's like, we're gonna take a look at your Da Vinci gallery in Beverly Hills. Let's take a look.
Amazing.
Wow.
So, everything that we've talked about from your life, we just saw flashed up.
Yeah, it's crazy,
It's
right?
amazing.
From the flowers to the $100 bill
the
to everything.
circuses,
Yeah.
to the gamblers. So what's been cool about this is, like, when I closed my gallery in Chicago, I had a lot of art that I was getting ready for the year. So I learned, you know, that I would prepare for the year before, right? So 20, I was already making the art. 19, right? Because I tried to do it to where I was doing it during the year. Shit didn't work, right? And art has a season, right? So, like, usually between like April, like March, April to like November, September, November, that's your window to make as much money as you can. And then it starts to slow down, you know, for the winter time. And so I learned that like after the second year, you know. So then I started getting hip to it. So I had a lot of art that I had been working on, because I had took a break in 17 and 18 were real intense, and a lot of weird shit happened. I had other cats pretend to be me. I had art stolen. Like, I mean, I had some far out shit happen to me, man, you know, during this art career, just as crazy as in the underworld stuff, really. You know, the art game could get real twisted,
Sure.
man. You know, I had no clue, but I guess anytime there's large amounts of money in the industry, you're gonna have, you know, your players and your gangsters, whatever. So for me, the first 2 years were intense. So here it was, finally 2020, man. I finally got to the point where I was there. You know, the gallery was good. My career was good. We were going to do the show. I had 4 big shows, and then to see it all vanish was just like, wow, you know. But to see that right now, that's actually the old gallery. Now it's changed. I just remodeled the whole thing because I've been there for 5 months now, and it was time to really show Beverly Hills or LA what I'm about to do. So like I'm doing all this new art. I got the space material. I have these gold. I got metals that I'm working with. So what's been awesome about LA for my art career is in Chicago, my tools were limited, right? So I'm a scientist, man. I like to create shit, you know? And in Chicago, there wasn't as much going on, right? So when I came to LA, even in the pandemic phase, man, I'm meeting guys that, you know, Thomas Olinsky, man, famous architect for Frank Gehry, right? I meet him right away. They want me to mess with their robots. I end up taking a space material roll of paper, right? You know what I'm saying? So like the tools that I've got in LA have expanded my creativity and my art, like the foil. Like now I'm using foil, I'm using metals, I'm sculpting things.
NASA materials.
NASA materials, yeah. I just got the text. It don't look like I'm gonna be able to get anymore, which is kind of discouraging. But so anyone, they better jump on those pieces. There's only 3 left, man. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But so LA's been like, it's been not only amazing for that I've been allowed the chance to be where I'm at, but the people I've been meeting have expanded my tool belt, right? Where now I'm doing things that I could have never imagined doing in Chicago. So like that gallery, like now, just in the last 3 weeks, I pretty much rebuilt everything. I built the walls, I lay the carpet, I hang the drapery. So I look at the gallery as a piece of art too. So it's just not the art in it, but it's the way that I'm showing
There's a
it.
flow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, we're gonna come see.
yeah, you
We
guys
will.
gotta come, man. It's really, really something.
So I have a question that's might be a little difficult to answer, but I got this question in a few different ways. So love your take on it. Are we, or are you glamorizing your crime?
No, not at all. You know, I think, because I mean, I've been asked that a lot. Glamorization is like, you know, like for me, there was nothing glamorous about my life, man, at one time. I mean, I did 12 years in prison. I had my friend killed next to me. I've been shot. I've had to deal with a bipolar mother who's in the hospital right now, losing her toes because she ran away from the nursing home. I mean, glamorization of a life, this wouldn't be the one, you know? This has been nothing but hard ass shit, man, for a lot of years, man. And, you know, am I regretful that I had to cross the line to take care of myself? Yeah. You know, I would have rather been going to school and being a doctor or a lawyer or whatever that maybe my mind could have led me to with the right situation. But that wasn't the situation. The situation was the South Side of Chicago, hard ass place, gangs, drugs, violence. And I failed for many years to try to get my life right. And then this last prison sentence, and I'll tell you, it was because of the judge. You know, the judge challenged me. He said, how long did it take you to become the best at this? And I said, man, you know, 15 years. He said, what could you have done in 15 years? It was a real striking comment to me. And so, you know, I think glamorization of a crime, this ain't it by any means. This is about a man who just didn't give up. And I've been out 7 years now. You know, I think like 76% of people go back within 3 years.
Yeah.
That's a crazy stat. Only 14% of us make it past 3 years, man. You know, I'm 7 years out and you know, and it's been hard, man. Nothing's been easy, you know, but, what I told you in the very beginning, one of the most things I'm proud of the last 7 years of making it where I'm at is that I didn't cross that line.
Yeah.
And I hold dear to that, you know, because that is my badge, man, that I've earned this, you know, what I've got. And my hope is that, you know, that people are sitting in prison, or that young kid sitting on the South Side of Chicago who doesn't have anything, because yeah, there's certain cultures and races that go through things more intense than others, but there's still people that go through intense stuff. I was a white family in the projects that we went through some intense stuff, man. There was no white privilege on my side of things, man. You know, I can't relate to that, man. I've been shot. I had my friend shot next to me. So for me, my perspective is a little different than most, man. But the fact is, I got out of it, right? I got out of it when I finally made the decision that I had enough, right? I had enough of prison. I had enough of the sorrows. I had enough of that stuff, man. And I said, you know what? Even if I got to go paint on the beach and eat bread with the pigeons, man, I'm done with it, you know? And so, you know, for me, man, glamorization, no, man. But, you know, hopefully it's inspiration. I hope that's what my life is, you know? It's an inspiration for people to say, hey, man, you could not go, you know, I didn't go to high school. I didn't go to college, man. I've been to prison 3 times. I've had all this shit, and I got out at 40 years old. And guess what? 40 years old, I said, man, no more. And here it is 7 years later, and I've reached a place where I don't say success yet, but I'm right there, you know. And so that is what, you know, I want my life to be for people.
I think that's beautifully said.
I agree.
All right, Art, you have to do rapid fire.
Okay, wrap it, man. Let's wrap it up.
Is there anything you miss from being in jail?
The camaraderie. I had some good friends, man. We had a lot of fun, man. We laughed our ass off, man, you know. I still have it here too, though. But, man, prison was a little different.
Did you have a gang or mafia nickname?
I had, Sandman, Artie
Sandman?
Cash. Yeah, Sandman, yeah. I slept a lot. Yeah, I don't sleep. I wish that's what I miss in prison. I slept, man. I slept really good. I don't sleep out here, man. I get like 4 hours a
Nobody
night.
in LA sleeps.
First of all, no one sleeps.
No, this is a hustle bustle town for sure. I thought Chicago.
But even because you always have thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've had a good night's
I've been up
sleep
since 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, it is time for bed.
They call me Artie Cash.
I like Artie Cash
because we're all black usually, you know.
Artie
so
Cash.
Artie Cash, like Johnny Cash. They call me Artie Cash. Yeah,
I like that.
One thing you would have done differently in the past to not get caught.
Print the 20. Ooh, the one thing I told you about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done. Well, I would have been still living off them probably, you know, because they were that good. You know?
One of the questions was, who would you want to play you in a movie?
Sorry. Charlie Hunnam, such a good call.
That's so great.
Well, no,
he would snap it up in 2 seconds.
Yeah, he just got.
I'm gonna text my friend, and he's gonna text him. And
well, you know what? Because like I said, I'm not too starstruck because I'm just in my own world, moving. You know. But like that cat, I felt like, you know,
he's popular for many different reasons.
But he also, the only
just
criticism,
felt real to me.
No, he is, but the only criticism, because I literally just finished Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
Is the accent. He has a terrible accent.
Yeah,
so that's my only thing. Anyway, continue.
I can coach him on his accent.
Get out of here, Alexander. Jesus Christ.
Art, your favorite painting that you've done?
My Michelangelo. It's a tribute to him. So being that I'm a counterfeiter, I like to play with the masters. So I took a Michelangelo painting and I had God giving Adam money, right? Like I've got into it with a few Christians over it because they're like, you know, you're taking this beautiful painting and then you have, you know, God giving man money, currency, like one. And I tell them like, well, don't you think we should be blessed, right? I mean, that to me is saying that we're to be and it's just not blessed money, but we're mentally elevated, physically elevated, right? So to me, it's so much more than just, you know, him giving them money. No, man, it's we're to be wealthy in all areas of life, man, every area, right?
That's also painted on one of the Vatican properties, which is the richest corporations in the nation, in the world, and everything. Anyway, so
also big movie producers just found that out. Rocket Man.
Yeah, I heard that. Rocket Man is their
what
big.
A trip.
What
that movie
a trip!
Tripped me out.
That movie was fantastic. I actually love that movie.
Like,
but yeah,
that was the movie that they
who
said.
knew the Catholic Church gave them millions of dollars to produce it.
Interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But they won't sponsor this podcast. No. I was head altar boy for 4 years. All right, Arthur, tell our audience where you want them to find you, follow you.
I'm at arthurjwilliamsjr.com. That's my website. And then Instagram, Arthur J. Williams Jr. I just use my name for everything, man, right?
That's smart. Good name.
Good branding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'm on Da Vinci's Gallery, 499 Cannon Drive, Beverly Hills, 90210, baby.
Woo-hoo!
Remember, I used to watch
you'll see him in work, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm usually there from like, I like to work at night. I'll be in the window painting, you know.
I'm usually stumbling home from West Hollywood at that point.
Really? Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Stumble
gonna say hi.
Stumble by,
Like,
man.
oh God,
I'll be there,
Yeah.
right? With the rocks, man. That I
don't even
almost
joke because
ate.
I will stumble by with like a bottle of
He
wine.
will.
Hey,
He will.
I'm there waiting too, man.
Liz, where can everybody find you?
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Listen to Liz. And Scissoring Isn't A Thing, which is my podcast with Darren Karp. It is now on Fridays. There we are. So cute. And you can follow that fun Instagram at SIAT Podcast.
Yes, well, that's it for this week. It's always a grab bag of fun. You never know who's going to show up. Big thank you to our fabulous guest, our engineer, Kurt. Kurt, thank you. Our intern, Alexis Mendez. Sammy Robin with Jag Entertainment. And above all, you, our fabulous audience. Please like, share, subscribe, and continue bringing this fabulous programming for free. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay tipsy. We'll see you next week.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.